Speaking of articulate, speaking of a voice for life, you've already heard from her twice tonight very briefly. You're seeing her up on the stage twice briefly tonight. But now I get to formally introduce the person who is why all of us are in this room and why all of us are watching this broadcast tonight, the President of Students for Life of America. Since launching Students for Life's full-time operation in 2006, the year that I first met Kristan, she has led the charge in growing the student pro-life movement from back in its days as American Collegians for Life to now Students for Life, from 181 campuses before to now more than 1,200 campuses across all 50 American states, and at the same time increasing the size of the SFLA National Conference from a mere 450, still a respectable number in 2007, to today more than 2,000 students, making it the single largest pro-life conference in the nation. She also is the author of Students for Life's first book, Courageous: Students Abolishing Abortion in This Lifetime. And I'd like to just add a few notes on a personal level. From 2006, when I first met Kristan, and I was watching her take the helm of this organization, I have admired her more than almost anyone else I know in the pro-life movement. She has a dogged determination that never stops, sometimes much to the dismay of her coworkers at Students for Life of America. She is up around the clock. I've gotten text messages and emails from her at 2 and 3 in the morning, and then she's up the next morning at 7 a.m. on a call, because to her, this cause is life and death, and she is willing to do whatever it takes to continue saving lives while pursuing the mission to abolish abortion. Even for her to have the audacity to say abortion can be abolished, who says those kind of things? Doesn't she know how much money and power and influence the abortion industry has? But she knows how much bigger a God we have, and she is committed, and she sees the power of the pro-life generation. She is a dear friend. We've spent many hours together over the years. I have fond memories of our time on the sock tour this past year, where we traveled with a truck with 328,000 socks, and that gets a little crazy when you spend time in close quarters with a big truck full of socks. Yes, we had sock puppets going on, singing the John Denver song as we crossed the line into her home state of West Virginia. I mean, just really crazy stuff. But she is somebody who has a love for preborn children, for their mothers, for this pro-life movement. And I believe when the history books are written and they talk about the key figures who helped to abolish abortion, I think the name of the person you're about to hear from is going to be at the top of that list. Please welcome the President of Students for Life of America, our friend, our hero, Kristan Hawkins. Let's welcome her with a rousing welcome.
Thank you, David, for that. Appreciate that. We won't share with everyone all of our stories from our road trip this fall. You can tune in some of my Facebook videos to see what we were up to after hours and hours in the car together. You know, 11 years ago, there was a problem in the pro-life movement. Young people were consistently polling pro-choice. The abortion industry, led by Planned Parenthood, was running unopposed on college and high school campuses. The pro-life brand often was turning young people away from joining what we know is the greatest human rights cause in our world today. So 11 and a half years ago, we launched Students for Life full-time. We had the help of an angel investor who agreed with us that we had to go on the offensive, to go right where the abortion industry was targeting, right where they were creating this trap for our generation, for my generation, to suck them into this predatory business cycle. We had to go right to that battle that we see every day for the hearts and the minds of our generation on the college and high school campuses, because we know that is where our culture is shaped. It's where it's formed. Because we have to realize that we can pass all the laws we want in Washington, D.C., and some of the laws that we should be passing and we're not. That's another speech for another time. We can pass all the laws we want, though. But if we lose this generation, if we lose our culture, everything that we've worked so hard for will be erased in 20, 30, and 40 years. Our mission was simple. Just simply be there, to be present, to go on the offensive, to go and build young leaders, build clubs, build a new youth-filled pro-life movement. And not to invest in the fancy technology, although it's kind of cool when we can use it. Thank you, Facebook. Not to invest in the fancy tech, but to advance in the real deal, the relationships, the things that millennials crave above all else. To take that tried and true evangelization model of belong, believe, behave, and implement it right on college campuses. For showing young people that this is a pro-life generation, that this is a cause worth fighting for, that this is a movement worth investing your most precious asset in. Convincing them that they belong with us in our movement, fighting for human rights. Then deprogramming them, deprogramming the lies that they've been fed by the abortion industry since they were in 5th or 6th or 7th grade. And then teaching them how to go out effectively and compassionately, share the truth about abortion, to share the truth about the culture of death on their campuses, and set those leaders up for a lifetime of service to our pro-life movement, for a lifetime of service to others. We decided to stop thinking about fighting this battle, of fighting this war against abortion, and to start winning it. To truly start winning it. To challenge our heroes and our mentors and the larger pro-life movement. To think bigger. To think larger. To do what those people said that couldn't be done. To go out and build a youth movement. To build an army of young people who are committed to ending the injustice of abortion. To go out and to expose the abortion Goliath Planned Parenthood for who and what they really are. To go out and to transform our high school and our college campuses to be a place where no woman ever feels like she has to choose between the life of her child and the life she's always dreamed of her education, of her career. And most people, still this happens today, told me that mission was impossible. I always joke that I got a lot of job offers those first few years of Students for Life because no one actually thought we were going to be able to go out and find these leaders and build them and set them on fire. But if you heard what David said in his, I wish I could just take David with me everywhere I go. He's like my little cheerleader. What David was nicely referring to in his pump up of Kristan is I'm a little stubborn sometimes. Our team is a little stubborn sometimes. We're different. When we're told that something is impossible, we don't just see it as a challenge or something to strive for. We make it our goal. Our team is different. We're gritty. We're fast and moving. We're innovative. And if you don't believe me, ask anyone who serves with us, and they'll tell you a wide range of stories to demonstrate these core principles. We're gritty. This December, we were told that the California State Legislature is taking up a bill, SB 320. SB 320 will mandate that all state universities in California will have to dispense the abortion pill on campus through their campus health center. Friends, this is a game-changing moment for the pro-life movement. We talk about putting the abortion facility out of business. We talk about defunding Planned Parenthood. What are we going to do when every state school turns into an abortion facility? So we mobilized. Camille and Anna, who are probably watching this, are regional coordinators in California. They met with all of our Students for Life groups in the state, more than 90 Students for Life groups in the state. We went to Sacramento. We lobbied. We've had numerous calling days, calling the state legislators, telling them why RE46 is wrong, why taxpayers shouldn't be forced to fund abortions, how women are going to die and suffer alone in their dorm rooms, being told just simply go to the toilet and flush, don't look. We've been doing everything we can in the state of California. We have lots up our sleeves. But this wasn't in our budget, this wasn't planned, but we're gritty. We're going to do it anyway. We will find a way to make this happen. We're fast moving. If you remember the video where Michelle, our Eastern Regional Coordinator, was talking about Reading, Pennsylvania. In Reading, Pennsylvania this June, where we don't have a student, well, we didn't until this point. We didn't have a Students for Life group in Reading, Pennsylvania. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful. It's near Amish country. I recommend a day trip. You could go to Reading, get great food, great antiques. But in Reading, PA, we found out just a week and a half, and we were told the school board is going to be voting on whether or not to allow a full-time staffer from the Planned Parenthood affiliate that commits abortions, that's been cited by the state of Pennsylvania for multiple health violations, to allow a full-time Planned Parenthood staffer into Reading High School. We had a week and a half to mobilize, and that was actually a lot of leeway. We had time on our hands. Michelle had to call everyone she knew, all the Students for Life leaders in Western PA, all the grassroots leaders we've made connections with throughout the years, 40 Days for Life, Right to Life leaders, different parishes, different churches, and we had to mobilize. And this was in the middle of June, when school was out of session. Students were off and studying abroad in Europe and getting credits for that, for having their vacation. They were working. But we had to be there in Reading, PA, and we were. We generated phone calls. We had letters to the editor. We had local press. We had national press. We had young people out there the night of the school board hearing where they actually postponed the vote. Then they said, oh, don't worry, we'll vote on this again in August. Once again, an awful month for mobilizations. But we were there. We didn't forget about Reading, PA. We were there. Our student leaders mobilized. They sacrificed. They made it a priority to be there. And that is why today, Reading, PA does not have a Planned Parenthood staffer in their high school. We're innovative. Last spring, we became concerned because the national talking point of defunding Planned Parenthood was getting lost. No one was really talking about defunding Planned Parenthood anymore. This is something we've been fighting for so long. So as a team, we sat down and we said, what can we do? What is it that we can bring to Washington, D.C. to show Congress the enormity of Planned Parenthood's abortion business, to show them we will not shut up, to show them that we will be their worst nightmare? And one student, Fort Hays, Kansas, had pinned a baby sock to her backpack. One of our regional coordinators, Reagan, who's here, took a picture of this baby sock to the backpack and said, what a great idea. This baby sock was pinned to her backpack, and she used it as a reason. Every time someone said, hey, you got some laundry on your backpack, the young girl would tell people, this is representing one baby Planned Parenthood's aborting. They abort 900 babies a day. So one of our staffers, and I think it was like an Eeyore moment, was like, well, why don't we just take a bunch of baby socks and dump them on Capitol Hill? She lived to regret that. I was like, why don't we? Has that ever been done before? Tina, is this possible? How big of a truck would we need? David, how do we collect baby socks? We have a warehouse. Last April, we had half the socks collected. We did a rally on Capitol Hill as our midpoint rally to show Congress the enormity of that Planned Parenthood abortion business. And as we were there, I graciously volunteered to guard the socks while we were unloading them. So I was standing there, and all the students were unloading the socks, and I was just guarding them. And I noticed that everyone who walked by was like, what is this? Can I have some of these? I was like, no. Why do you have all these socks? And I would tell them, well, these socks represent the boys and girls that Planned Parenthood will abort this year. And it didn't matter who the person was, Republican, Democrat, young, old, black, white. It didn't matter where someone came from. Everyone's mouths dropped. Everyone was shocked and saddened. So it was after this rally, we were excited. We had half the socks. We decided we're going to continue on. We're going to collect the full 328,348 baby socks, remembering each and every child Planned Parenthood will abort. And we did. And then I said, what are we going to do now? We have these talks. And so this fall, we went on the road. We toured more than 12 states. We did the East Coast tour, West Coast tour. We went out in front of congressmen offices, senators' offices, Planned Parenthoods, from Washington, D.C., to Pennsylvania, to West Virginia, to Kentucky, to Indiana, Ohio, Arizona, Colorado, California, Nevada. We were there. We showed the U.S. Senate the pro-life generation wasn't going away. Now, men and women, the good news tonight is that I believe through the Holy Spirit, and because of all the incredible Students for Life, courageous Students for Life leaders all across the country, we truly have the momentum. We truly have the momentum. Today we serve more than 1,203 Students for Life groups in all 50 states. In fact, I got to meet our leaders from North Pole, Alaska this January, our national conference. North Pole, Alaska, I was so excited. The kids from Croatia beat them for miles traveled, but I was still really excited. We trained more than 60,000 young people in the past 11 years. We'll train more than 10,000 just this year alone. We host the world's largest pro-life conference every year. We've grown from a staff of one, the janitor, the executive director, the IT director, and field director, to more than 40 today. We've gone from 100 Students for Life groups to 1,200. Today, Students for Life members, Students for Life leaders on campuses throughout the country, this year, they will contribute more than $15 million in in-kind volunteer service to the pro-life movement. The polls are showing us that we're winning. The media, if you look at the national narrative of abortion, if you look at how abortion is now talked about, the narrative is changing, and one that's young, hip, and joyful. When we had the honor of meeting with Vice President Pence and Mrs. Pence just at the end of January, and we had a roundtable with our student leaders to discuss First Amendment restrictions that we're facing on campuses. One of the most moving things for me, and I've known the Vice President for a while, he was our buddy. He authored the Defund Planned Parenthood bill. But one of the most moving things for me was we were sitting there at the round table. It was supposed to be a 15-minute in-and-out greet. It ended up going to 45 minutes, and then you saw he invited us up on stage to another function. But he turned to me at one point at the round table meeting and said, "Where did you find all of these people? They're so articulate." And I was able to answer so truthfully. I said, "Sir, I was too cheap to even fly in some of our top students. This is just a random sampling. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. The fact is, this pro-life generation is everywhere." So now it's the question for me and the question I've been posing to our team, the question I've been posing to Students for Life leaders across the country is, what do we do with this momentum? What do we do with these 1,200 groups in 50 states? What can we actually accomplish to achieve our goal in our lifetime of abolishing abortion? Next month, Students for Life will be launching our new capital campaign. And it's the most aggressive thing we've ever done. Starting groups, easy. Training students, easy. Road trips, done. What's hard is getting some of these outcomes measured. The first thing that we are going to launch in our capital campaign is we are going to end Planned Parenthood's influence in our schools. We are going to go everywhere Planned Parenthood is. Whether it's a high school in Reading, PA, whether it's a middle school in Spokane, Washington, whether it's a high school in Orange County, California, every school Planned Parenthood is trying to get in, we will stop. And we will go to every school Planned Parenthood is in, and we will kick them out. We have to end their influence in our generation. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to eliminate campus abortions. And what I mean by that is we must transform our college and high school campuses. You heard Maddie's story today. Sadly, Maddie's story is not rare. What's rare is that Maddie had the courageousness to choose life and to speak out and to go into national television and tell her story, to motivate others, to give others courage. We are going to transform college campuses into a place where no woman ever has to choose again between the life of her child and the life she's always dreamed of. The third thing we're going to do is we're going to produce and launch lifetime leaders. Students for Life leaders, they're not to give up after they graduate college or they graduate high school. We want them to become lifetime leaders in our movement, no matter what profession they choose to serve. I know Norvelia has been recruited for Morgan Stanley already tonight. If Norvelia goes to serve at Morgan Stanley, she will be a pro-life leader there. No matter where Norvelia goes in her life, she will always be a part of the pro-life generation. And the fourth thing we want to do is we need to develop a critical mass of pro-life sentiment amongst our generation. This is on the ground. This is meeting people where they are. This is measuring our conversations, measuring our conversions, talking to people one-on-one about abortion, about Planned Parenthood, about the abortion industry, and to say, you know what? There is a better way. There is a way that respects life, a way that respects women, that truly serves and that truly loves. That's what we're going to do. You know, at state houses across the country this month and last month, at the March for Life, at the Walk for Life in San Francisco, our team and our student leaders always proudly hold the I am the pro-life generation signs. They wear the t-shirts. They have the bumper stickers in the backpacks. Because the truth is, we truly are this pro-life generation. This isn't simply a slogan or a tagline for us. This is who we are. This is what we hope to accomplish, what we will achieve. And we have the plans, we have that strategy, and we have the momentum to achieve our true goals. And guess what? You tonight, you who are listening, you're now part of the pro-life generation. If you weren't actively involved in the pro-life generation before tonight, if you've been on the sidelines, guess what? By being here, by tuning in, you've been recruited. You've been drafted. You are now part of the pro-life generation. And I expect you, just like I expect our team, just like I expect our 1,200 groups across the country, I expect you to do more than you ever dreamed, more than you ever hoped to do, to help us achieve our goal, our true goal of abolishing abortion, of restoring a culture and life of our country. And that comes with praying, that comes with acting, and that comes with giving, because we need you a part of this mission. I believe we can abolish abortion. I've envisioned it in my mind. I can see a United States of America where abortion is no longer legal, where abortion is no longer considered a needed or necessary evil. My question for you is, have you envisioned it? Have you seen it in your mind? And are you prepared to act? Thank you.